Thank you for joining us for the 55th anniversary celebration of Lions Vision Services. It's an important and a special milestone for an organization to serve a community for over half a century. And as we hone in on our official anniversary for Lions Vision Services on June the 24th, it's a great time to reflect on where we are, how we got here, and where we're going in the future. To do that, I have with me the incoming vice chair of our board of directors and also the current council chair for the Council of Governors for Multiple District 32, state of South Carolina, Jim Barbare. Jim, thank you so much for joining me today for this special program.
This is an exciting day, Daniel, and we're looking forward to this.
Absolutely. We have a lot to be excited about from where we have come from, and as I can tell with your leadership moving up on our board and in Lions, our future is something to be equally excited about and proud of.
Yes, we're looking forward to our service at the next level, and we're excited about some upcoming things that we're going to be involved in.
Fantastic. Well, before we get into some specific questions and some information about your role in our organization and in our path towards the next 55 years of service, I thought it might be helpful to start with a couple of iconic milestones from our past, if that's okay.
Sure.
Beginning in the 1960s, the Lions of South Carolina started pursuing a bold vision and an iconic idea. And then 1 year after the creation of Lions Clubs International Foundation, the Lions of South Carolina came together in Myrtle Beach at the state convention and voted to establish a statewide nonprofit organization that would be connected to the Lions of South Carolina and carry on service to the blind and visually impaired across our state, bringing together the social, moral, intellectual, relational, and financial resources of Lions clubs in South Carolina to achieve a greater impact for our mission than we could ever accomplish on our own. And it was still very much with Helen Keller's charge to be Knights of the Blind in the crusade against darkness, ringing in the ears of South Carolina Lions, that those various study groups and ultimately the state association came together to create what would later become Lions Vision Services. And it's exciting to know that while our name has changed a little bit over the years, that our core mission has remained the same. And we are focused even more intently now on eye care and on service to the blind and visually impaired than we've ever been in our history. And it's important, I think, to try to put ourselves in the context, the historical context of significant past events. We can take for granted sometimes the cultural moment that we find ourselves in and forget that in 1969, for any group to step out on a limb and say that we're going to advocate and serve the blind and visually impaired, that statement carried a lot more moral risk with it for individuals' social capital in 1969 than it does today. And in that sense, our vision, one component of our vision at LVS, that the public would recognize the dignity and the value of each blind and visually impaired person, is closer to being a reality now than it's ever been in our 55-year history. But it was certainly a much bolder statement in 1969 that an organization was going to focus on that service. It's very encouraging to see that some of the earliest seeds and foundations that were laid in 1969 are bigger and more robust today than they've ever been. These seeds that our predecessors had planted, some have blossomed into giant oak trees. And in many ways, we are planting more seeds now for our successors to harvest and to nurture in years to come. One of the most important advancements that we've had that's been since your service on our board of directors has been the expansion of our affordable eye surgery program. And as we wrap up this fiscal year, we will achieve yet another, a second 55-year record of providing over 180 sight-saving eye surgeries, nearly 200 sight-saving eye surgeries for South Carolina residents. That surpasses our previous record of 138 surgeries last year, and it certainly surpasses anything that we've done in the last 55 years. So in that sense, I mean, even since you've been on our board, we have advanced in our mission. And yet, at the same time, we have been responsive to many of the emerging needs within our community. The need for eyeglass assistance to be expanded statewide has allowed us to continue serving and assisting local Lions clubs and to stretch their local dollars farther by being able to add to unmet needs for eyeglasses around South Carolina. That's a program that we see as one of the next significant milestones in our future that will continue to drive us towards service for the community and for the people that we serve. So with all of that in mind, we could not achieve these milestones. We wouldn't be here if it weren't for the people, if it weren't for the leaders that have brought us to today. So Council Chair, I wonder if you could tell us a little bit about yourself and how you came not only to the role that you're in Lions, but also to the role that you're in at Lions Vision Services.
Well, thank you, Daniel. And I would say that it was kind of a circuitous route that kind of brought me into Lions service. It was in my late 50s that I became a Lion, and that was due to the effort of a local nearby Lions club that had been wanting to build a new club in our community. And so after a couple of informational meetings, we selected officers, and I was chosen as the inaugural president of what is now the Blue Ridge Lions Club, which allowed me to serve as president for 1 year. And then the district officers then asked if I would be willing to step up to another level, and served in another capacity. And just one thing kind of led to another and allowed me to come through many offices in our district, and then now to be able to serve in a multiple district role has given me a unique perspective on the needs that are not only in our community, but in our district and in our state as well.
That's tremendous. And you know, it's sometimes that nudge from a friend to step into one of those roles that can propel us to new heights of service and impact that we couldn't see ourselves otherwise.
Well, I would say that almost invariably, I did not feel comfortable initially in most of those roles, but it allowed me to expand my depth of understanding of the process, and therefore I learned to be comfortable in each of those roles, and I learned the process, and I think it's through learning the process that it emboldened my desire to find more ways to serve in Lions in South Carolina.
That's wonderful. What about Lions Vision Services specifically? Obviously we have a rich history with the South Carolina Lions, and yet in many ways there are distinctions and nuances that distinguish us from local Lions clubs. What was your first introduction to LVS?
Well, I would assume that one of my first introductions would have been the fact that I would have been hearing in our regular meetings and in our district meetings about the great job that Lions Vision Services does in Columbia. But from Blue Ridge, that seemed like so far away. But yet, the more I learned, the closer it got. And the effects that it had not only in Columbia and throughout the state, but the effects that it had in our local communities. We started hearing the stories of people whose lives are being affected by the services of Lions Vision Services, which is at a higher level than the club can typically provide. Clubs are good at providing vision screenings and eye care, eyewear, things of that nature, but when you get to that next level where people need specialized services, it's more than a regular club can do. So that's where LVS has stepped in and made such a difference and such an impact in people's lives. Matter of fact, we had one person in our club that needed treatment for shots in her eyes, and she was able to tell the story to our club of how that made a difference in her vision, and it saved her vision. And so it came right home to us and gave us more of an impetus to do more to help Lions Vision Services through our fundraising efforts, and it brought it home to us.
Absolutely. It's that personal story, and when you see what that, that big statewide organization is doing in your small corner of the world, that really drives home the relevance and the excitement behind the mission.
Well, it's not only that, but we heard that time and time again when we would visit clubs, as we had the opportunity to visit clubs as a vice district governor and district governor. We kept hearing these stories over and over of success. And we got to think, this is a big state in that way, and we don't often get to tell these stories to every club. So we determined that it was important to be able to help each club understand what is going on in other clubs and how people's lives are being affected and how their site is being saved in many cases by the services of Lions Vision Services.
Absolutely. Our site is so foundational and fundamental to how we interact with the world and with our community. It's the first way we engage with the world when we open our eyes in the morning, and it's the last way we engage with the world when we close our eyes at night. And so besides the iconic legacy of Helen Keller that we stand in, it's profound relevance to the quality of our communities and frankly to the sustainability of our communities today. So that focus is one that I think Lions really help advocate for. And I know beyond Lions, you're very involved in your community at large as well. Prolific servant leader and civic leader. So I wonder if you could share a little bit about how you go about that civic engagement beyond the local Lions Club. What does that look like, and how do you serve as an ambassador and advocate for LVS and for Lions in some of your community roles at large?
Well, I guess, Daniel, I would say that my focus on my personal service has now just kind of narrowed itself down to how can I do the service that I do with the intent of how does this fit my Lions service? And so any project that I seem to get involved in, I try to figure out how does the template of Lions service fit this so that I can do a better job in my service role. I would say historically in the past that I have been involved in many local projects. Some of them might be a month or two and some might be several months. But it was short duration and it was specific for that project. But now I have the opportunity to look at it from a broader perspective, having had some roles in Lions service in South Carolina. And so I just take a different perspective of how can we be more effective in the service that we're doing. And I enjoy now having the opportunity to, for example, mentor in the local middle school system. And I have found that that is one of the most rewarding things that I've done. And that is a direct result of my Lions service through my club and promoting that. And mentoring can have a profound effect on a young person's life.
Absolutely.
And so we are always trying to measure our service as Lions and report that service. And so I am continually looking for opportunities to enhance what I am doing in the community. But now with Lions, it seems like I have a one-stop shop opportunity to be able to focus my service in that way. And I think I have a better overall result in what I'm attempting to do because the Lions gives us a great template of how to serve. And so having learned that process, it enhances my service and it keeps my service focused so that I get better results, I believe, and I can choose the opportunities to serve where I know I'm going to have the most impact. And that also filters down to Lions Vision Services, which is just a wing and an arm of that.
Absolutely. It's one thing to serve as a board member for an organization, but you're stepping into a more formal leadership role as the vice chair of our board of directors at the start of our upcoming fiscal year. So what about that opportunity most excites you, particularly as that kind of fits within your civic service framework?
One of the things that I think is going to be most important in that role is being able to make our Lions Vision Services more known across the state, as well as in our Lions clubs. Brand awareness, I think, is quite important. And so being able to take that message out there, a message that sometimes we kind of get used to hearing because we are repeating that message often in our meetings, but we need a new and a fresh approach to let people know in their communities the services that are available if they just know about them. Being able to help people that just normally would not understand the process, understand how to even go about the application process. So I believe that being able to serve in that way, to make our Lions Vision Services more known throughout the state, to make that 185 services rendered this year be well over 200 in the coming fiscal year. And that's possible, but we just have to continue to promote Lions Vision Services in that way and make people aware of what we're there for.
Absolutely. I mean, marketing is not only critical to our organization, but it's so important that, as you know, our board of directors has made that brand awareness part of our strategic plan and wanting us to take significant steps over the coming years to increase that brand awareness so that clients, both current and future clients, might know more effectively how to connect with our services, but also so that other Lions members who are new to the Lions family or who have maybe heard of some of our past work might know what LVS is doing today in their community and can stay excited about our mission and about our service. That marketing and that brand awareness is one piece of a bigger strategic plan, and that plan is designed to take us from our 55th anniversary here into a successful future. So Jim, what about that future for LVS most excites you?
Well, I think one of the things that gets me really excited is the excitement that our staff has about their jobs. The staff is the key to making things happen here in our state, and to feed off of their excitement about their roles and how they make things happen for our clients. And then I realized that on a typical business week, 4 out of 5 days, we're making an approval of an application for someone. And so those kinds of things are what are exciting to me, to realize that 4 out of 5 business days, we are approving site-changing events in someone's life, typically helping save their site, and then quite often improving it to the point where they are able to then go back to work and provide for their own sustenance. I think that is very powerful. So being able to make these stories that are happening in people's lives known throughout our state as we continue to propel our message, I think that's one of the most exciting things that I'm looking forward to in our future. Telling the story.
Telling the story. It's the compilation of, now hundreds of those stories a year that truly get our staff out of bed every morning with the passion and the enthusiasm of knowing everything we do is making a difference in people's lives. And even when challenges or potential roadblocks might come up, the perseverance to navigate those and to come up with that final solution that will save site, that will provide empowerment and assistance. When you know what that does for somebody on a personal level, it starts putting a face to some of those numbers that we talk about so often. And it's certainly something that excites us as a staff to know that the number of those stories is going to continue increasing as we continue increasing services. We certainly are grateful to the board for the way that they have helped us expand over the past several years. And that expansion has now included the addition of a full-time program director beginning just a few weeks ago to help us sustain the increase in our eye surgery applications and our eye surgery program, because that initiative alone, while it is almost half a century old, it's one of the first and earliest LVS initiatives, it has reached a scale and an operational level that requires additional time and additional efforts. One person can't manage all of LVS's programs anymore. And while that's a good problem to have, it's a problem that needs addressing. And so being able to secure the financial resources. We've been the grateful recipient of a number of transformative grants this year. A $50,000 grant from the CCME Foundation, a $50,000 grant from the Leon Levine Foundation, and continued support from the Blue Cross Blue Shield of South Carolina Foundation. Some of the bigger players in our state and in our region as a whole are taking notice of Lions and of LVS and are helping us in that work to advocate for eye care and vision services. But I know that eye care work is just one component of our Lions community and of our Lions work. So telescoping out a little bit, Jim, what excites you most about the future of South Carolina Lions as a whole?
Oh, we have such a great opportunity here in South Carolina, but it starts with membership. And so growing our membership is going to be paramount in the next year or two. And while we grow our membership, we also grow our service, because one member equals two hands, and that allows our service to continue to grow. We're going to lose a few members just because of age and other issues. So we need to be encouraging our members to reach out and bring in new members. Matter of fact, we're bringing in new members this week into our club so that we can grow our service and have an impact. And so membership, I think, is paramount. And then when we have that excitement of new membership, it also gives us that impetus to reach out for fundraising efforts. Those fundraising efforts in our community are so impactful. We as a club are able to help in many local charities here, but we also work hard through our fundraising efforts to help with Lions International, our foundation there, as well as LVS, to support them on a regular basis. It takes a lot of money. These grants are quite helpful, and we have a team member that's constantly working on grants to get that money in so that we can make a difference. So fundraising is paramount, and being able to have the membership in place in our clubs that can help us with that fundraising is what I'm excited about in the next few years.
That's an encouraging word. And I really think those two components go together, because at the root of fundraising is philanthropy. And you throw that word around and some people look at you like you're speaking Greek, and it actually does have a Greek root. But at its core, it means a love of humankind. And isn't that what we're about from a service standpoint as well within Lions and within LVS, to serve our fellow man and to share that love of mankind. So the way we share that can, of course, vary from time to time and from season to season, but it's something that motivates us to continue bringing those two together so that we have more hands around the table to help us advance that service. So, Jim, I know one of the things that you're personally involved in and are going forward in is increased involvement with Lions at the international level, beyond even South Carolina. I wonder if you could tell us a little bit about some of the projects and efforts that you have on the horizon with our international association.
Well, as you know, I have my name in to become an international director for our organization. I feel like I can serve at the international level and take the things that I have learned through this process of becoming a Lion and being a Lion. The many trainings that I have been involved in have given me the opportunity to know more about our organization. And I think that will have prepared me to serve at the international level as a director. And I'm looking forward to that. And if I am selected to be an international director, that even expands that learning opportunities that I will have. And of course, I will then be able to build a bridge, hopefully, from the international organization back to our state and help our state grow in that way. And the many opportunities that Lions Clubs International already has provided us with learning by way of the portal that we have. We have a new Lions portal in which we are able to interact with our international organization even more so. We're excited about that as well. So being able to step up to another level and hopefully serve our organization in that way, I believe will be impactful as well. I know it'll impact my life, and I'm hoping it'll impact South Carolina as well and our whole region. our whole constitutional area 1 that I would be serving in. So I'm excited about that opportunity.
That's an incredible opportunity. There are not that many seats on the International Board of Directors, and there are quite a few Lions clubs and even states around the country that would love to vie for that kind of position. You've alluded to some of the benefits that might come to South Carolina by having an international representative on our board of directors as an association. Are there any specific outcomes or goals for our state that you think might be advanced or that might be served by having someone from South Carolina, a leader like yourself, on the international board?
Well, I think what that will allow us to do is to take the values that we have as South Carolinians, the core values that we have, and to have an impact on our international organization by taking those values with us as we go. And the input that I have had over the years from the many, many Lions that have been Lions for 20, 30, 40, and 50 years that have impacted my growth, I will be able to take that with me as well as I am able to speak, opportunities to speak at Lions events and conventions, and I will take a piece of us with us in every meeting that I go to. And so I believe that our values are strong, our South Carolina values are strong, and to be able to take that with me as I go, I think is impactful. And of course, I'll be learning other values as well from the international organization, and that too will be able to then be translated back to South Carolina as I bring those new messages back with me.
That's tremendous and very exciting. One of the initiatives that we've been working on a little bit behind the scenes at LVS has been the reconstitution of a professional association for charities like LVS that have that Lions affiliation. Some individuals might be surprised or excited to hear that almost every state in the United States, a number of provinces, and Canada even, have established charities like LVS with an explicit affiliation or connection to Lions clubs at the state or at the district level, or with specific Lions global causes like Vision. And our efforts in collaboration with the Kentucky Lions Eye Foundation and the Louisiana Lions Eye Foundation are coming together and we hope culminating at the USA-Canada Forum in Louisville, Kentucky this September to help us re-establish a formal network to support the staff and the board members of those Lions charities, so that together we can share best practices, we can share ideas, we can share perspectives, so that folks around the country can replicate proven models of success that work, and we can better support each other through some of the unique and specific challenges that Lions-based charities might encounter to strengthen our service framework across our constitutional area. So we're excited about that opportunity, and coming at a time when you're seeking this candidacy on the international board. I see a lot of really exciting potential for how we can move Lions forward around the country with those shared values.
I think, Daniel, also, if we can keep that focus on South Carolina, keep that spotlight on us, so that people are saying, what are they doing down there in South Carolina? It looks so successful, and they hear and learn more about our Lions Vision services. It would just also give us that encouragement to continue to do our strong work here.
Absolutely, yeah. You're reinvesting that right back into the energy and momentum of the organization. Jim, as we kind of wrap up our formal conversation today, looking at your current perspective and context, both within Lions and within South Carolina, my last question to you is in two parts. What is the single thing that excites you most about the future, about the next 55 years of LVS? And then conversely, what is the one thing that excites you the most about the future of South Carolina Lions, which are into their second century of service now?
Yes, that is so interesting to realize that we have clubs that are over 100 years old as far as their charter goes, and that we're 55 years strong in South Carolina with Lions Vision Services. So we just have such a wonderful platform in both cases to build from. We have such a wonderful, strong base to build from. And so as we're bringing in additional members to our board and expanding what we're trying to do, expanding our messaging, we have no way to go but up. And so we're excited about the fact that we're going to be more impactful in lives of people that have needs in South Carolina. And the needs are not getting any less. We see that not only in our clubs, but in Lions Vision Services. The needs are still there. People still need our services. And so we're excited about the fact that we can get out, work harder, and promote and make a difference in someone's life. For such a time as this, we are prepared. And so I'm excited that the next 55 years are going to be even stronger and better. And we go back to the historic look of when past international director Leon Campbell served as the first board trustee chairperson, that I don't know that they would have realized how this would have taken off and what impact it would have had. But I know they'd be happy to know that it is strong and that our future is strong and the South Carolina Lions are strong. We're very strong based with over 117 clubs, 3,000 members. We'd like that to be 4,000 members in the next decade, so we've got something to work hard for. So there's a great opportunity to serve here in South Carolina as Lions. And so we want to encourage our friends and families to join us in that effort to help us build a stronger South Carolina Lions Association.
That's an encouraging word to end us on, Jim, and really appreciate your time today to explore a little bit of the history of Lions Vision Services and to look ahead to our future at this iconic moment as we celebrate 55 years of service in the name of Lions to the state of South Carolina. We hope that you will take the time to learn a little bit more about us and to share the message of Lions Vision Services. Join us in the fight to end blindness and poverty. You can learn more at our website at lionsvisionservices.org. You can explore more of our history there. You can learn more about our programs and services. You can meet our world-class board of directors that are leading and overseeing the successes of our organization and the prudent stewardship and management of our assets. And you can find some other specific ways that you might be able to get more involved at LVS, whether that's volunteering to join a committee, helping us at our Santee blind fishing tournament in the spring, or calling your congressional representative to ask them to join the Congressional Vision Caucus and expand access to eye care for all Americans so that every American can obtain the eye care services that they need. Or maybe you feel personally led to celebrate our 55th anniversary with a $55 tax-deductible contribution to Lions Vision Services, which you can make securely on our website or that you can make by sending a check to our address, 234 Outlet Point Boulevard, Suite C, Columbia, South Carolina, 29210. Whatever that involvement looks like for you, we appreciate your partnership and look forward to a phenomenal next 55 years of service to the great state of South Carolina through Lions Vision Services. Thank you.